So in money
So
is
what's going on? So this is just a few counties away from us, Mike.
It is.
But a different economic zone because people are more likely to commute a few counties north from us than they are a few counties east.
So last spring, shortly after it became clear that COVID-19 was more than just a little flu and that local shops would be down and out for more than just a little while, America got to wondering, how can we save small businesses? Many commentators demanded quick federal relief. Some consumers went on gift card shopping sprees, and 2020 presidential candidate Andrew Yang tweeted a proposal combining the two. Government-issued debit cards redeemable only at locally owned small businesses.
I just want to kind of explain. I clicked on the link for what the gift card shopping spree meant. You had local Good Samaritan charity cases. They bought up gift cards at local businesses and gave them to people. Almost like as a subsidy. And then also kind of like
that
the gift
sounds
card
like a
almost
Mr. Beast type thing.
A what?
A Mr. Beast type thing.
Yeah, and but the gift card almost acts as like a loan in that you're selling out value, you're making sales now so that people can buy things later when the lockdown's over.
Right.
And Yang, who is slated to be the next mayor of New York City, isn't that going to be fun?
Isn't he from Schenectady?
I'll have to check, but
I think he's a local.
Is he?
I think so.
But I'm not saying I'm proud, but it's it's interesting that so he got enough attention during the primary that he's now his place in the DNC is kind of insured. So it's like the DNC Democratic Party is now well, let's find a place for Yang, right?
Right.
Let's just make him mayor of New York City.
No, that definitely sounds like what they did. They're like, where should we put him? Fuck it. Let's go New York.
Yeah, don't swear, please.
Oh, sorry. Oh, right. I forgot. Sorry.
Because you're home.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's exactly what's happening. Don't get it twisted. This is democracy in America, the one-party state, the oligarchy rules, and the oligarchy says, "Oh, Yang, he's a fresh face," and he'll. Chapo was making jokes about Reddit. He's like the Reddit candidate, so we'll have a Reddit mayor.
I'm excited to see what New York City's gonna look like with universal basic income, because I'm pretty sure that's just gonna be what he does. And if that's,
I doubt it.
I don't know. That's his big thing. So I think it's possible, at least, that that in an ideal world, that this is me interpreting Andrew Yang positively. In an ideal world,
he
goes to New York and he gives everyone universal basic income. We see that it works and we go, all right, sure, let's do it.
Well, we see it work all over the place,
right,
in the world. And so it's more like it'll be blunted or something, because remember, it'll be Yang as mayor of New York brought to you by the DNC.
Oh, that's true.
So
that's true.
He will have a leash on him.
Yeah.
Don't always forget that. So anyway, keep going.
So
there's a lot more. This is a longer article, but
or the Twitterazzi, I think, mostly condemned Yang's idea as stupid, impractical, and useless. Harsh. And the debit cards never came to pass.
As if the Twitterati have political power in this country.
Consumers got stimulus checks and small businesses got paycheck protection program loans instead. But a piece of his idea, a currency that could only be spent at a local business, has been a fixture of life in Massachusetts' southern Berkshires since 2006?
So it's not his idea. This whole his idea, which has already been implemented all over the world.
Right.
It's not his idea. Okay.
So Berkshires, I love that. I spend a lot of times in the Berkshires. I like it. It's a fun area. and
Mostly because
Berkshire's.
it's settled by so many hippies, So
That's
or
fair.
ex Cambridge grads, from the Boston area.
Right.
But yeah, but
So,
it's Berkshires refers to the mountain range that separates the Hudson and Connecticut River valleys.
mm,
Um, yeah, it's where my home ski base is.
okay. It's where a sleepaway camp I used to go is.
Gotcha.
So,
All right.
Berkshires, the region's currency, are redeemable at over 400 Berkshire businesses, good for buying a pastry at the bakery or an hour of a lawyer's time, printed as real paper bills and adorned with hometown heroes like the Souls of Black Folk author W.E.B. Du Bois. Oh, yeah, Great Barrington is where W.E.B. Du Bois was born.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to that town a lot. Uh, Berkshires can be purchased at 3 local banks, and for shoppers, those fancy notes are more than just a reminder to buy local. They're also a way to get 5% off, because $95 gets you 100 Berkshires. It wasn't the first alternative currency in the world. It wasn't even the first in the region. But Berkshires are arguably the most successful. In the currency's 14 years of existence, the currency has accumulated $10 million worth of Berkshires, and the model has inspired other regions abroad. Now, almost a year into America's COVID downturn, with roughly 800 small U.S. businesses closing each day, politicians are trying to repair the damage. Massachusetts is investing in a buy local advertising campaign.
I just
California.
want that is it's so pathetic doing buy local advertising campaigns because it
Yeah,
completely ignores why does anyone shop at Walmart? All right, it's not
right.
because it's like yeah they are maximizing their buying potential, but it's also like it could be the only place they can actually afford. Right,
Right.
you actually do get
Where
more.
I went to college, Walmart was the place to go. Like, my town was so small, except for the 2 colleges. It was like, so what do you got up there to do? You can drink, you can watch hockey. Oh, and there's a Walmart.
Yeah. Now the other
You
thing
go
to
to
mention
Walmart to
is
be
that
entertained.
about like look the reason why people don't shop local is because they're not aware of local businesses. All right,
Yeah.
that's why it's like that's why the 5% discount is an actual like oh that actually like cuts down on the one of the main reasons why not. Okay, go on. Sorry, I
So,
just wanted to point out how stupid buy local campaigns really are without economic reform.
well, California is offering technical support to help small businesses adapt to e commerce. But some municipal governments are looking to go further, promoting the use of a local currency by borrowing, spending, and accepting it themselves. This could be a game changer for struggling regional economies nationwide. If municipalities were to spend money that could only circulate in their regions, they'd have a powerful tool for stimulating businesses, creating jobs, and generating tax revenue at the local level. The idea.
And promoting balkanization.
You're absolutely right. The idea of getting the idea would be to have all of the areas surrounding like the major metro areas from DC all
Yeah,
the way to Boston, of like Baltimore,
the
Philly,
Beltway, yes.
yeah, the whole East Coast Beltway, and just have one currency for that Beltway. I think that could do a lot of wonders to stimulate that.
Oh yeah, that we split out from the rest of the country and stuff
Oh,
like that, right?
definitely.
Um, it would also need to include Virginia though, because the DC area is there's a local streamer there, Dylan, and he actually refers to the MTA, the DC, no DMV, which is DC, Maryland, Virginia. There's Northern Virginia is part of the DC metro, so
Oh yeah,
gotta include that too.
that's true. All right. So the idea of getting municipalities involved, which comes from the Schumacher Center for New Economics, the think tank behind Berkshire's, is still in its infancy. I would be curious to figure out who funds the Schumacher Center for New Economics.
Good idea.
Well,
It mentioned
there's
that
a blue link.
yeah.
Pardon me. I'm gonna click it, open it in a new tab.
Okay, you look at that. I'll continue. I'm not going to go through the whole history thing, but basically Schumacher wrote "Small is Beautiful: Economics as If People Matter." This was in '73. It was a New York Times bestseller. Very influential book. Um, really got a lot of the community economics stuff I read about is inspired. I read it, though I remember very little from it actually. But mostly his arguments that like big if a business gets big enough, it basically has to be a monopoly. Or the whole purpose of a business growing exponentially is to be a monopoly. There's really no other endpoint. So if you don't like monopoly, if you don't like economic exploitation or oppression or tyranny, really, you need to keep things small, both governments and businesses or firms, whatever,
All
commerce.
right, I'm
And it's
reading. Can I jump back? I'm reading the thing.
go ahead.
It seems to me it's based as hell. Like it's great. I love it. Like it's
Oh,
talking
sure,
about
yeah.
like I'm reading there
Schumacher,
about and it's
etc.
like like adding democracy to things, giving labor a say, and I'm like, all right, I'm on board. This it's saying the right things.
Oh, sure. No, they're leftist. I mean,
Yeah.
a they're not part of the Soros empire. Okay. But yeah, yeah, no, that's what you're thinking. Like, I wonder who funds this. Is it
Yeah.
Soros? Let me skip ahead to it gives us the history of Berkshire's and how it came about.
Hmm.
Um, and a lot of examples of local businesses now. But even the business owners who love the currency acknowledge its limitations. When Levin asked his employees if he could pay their bonuses in Berkshires, they declined. Austin says it can be pain to deal with issuing change because it doesn't have coinage. Um, though I don't know why that's a problem. If everything is, unless it's tax based. But that's what brought in my thought that I want to rant about it. How the only reason dollars are important is because it's the only currency that governments accept as taxation. So later on in this article, it will mention how the real game changing, when it actually shifts from just being some boutique shop local initiative to being post capitalism, is when governments accept these alternative currencies as a form of taxation.
Yeah.
Or we have unions or other types of organizations that do everything governments do and
Which deal
that
in that?
use these that do these alternative currencies. So can you go down to shop Small is Beautiful evolves?
Small is Beautiful evolves. A few years after Berkshire's launched, word of their success reached the New Economics Foundation, NEF, in London. In the aftermath of the 2008 financial crisis, the NEF reached out to the Schumacher Center, curious about whether it might launch a similar, easily exchangeable currency backed by British pounds. Those conversations helped shape two of them: the Brixton Pound for the South London district, and later the Bristol Pound for the city in
You cut out.
southwestern England.
You cut out. Brixton Pound in South London and the Bristol Pound
Yeah,
in Bristol.
I cut out.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
No. Oh,
But you're back.
both prospered. 250 businesses now accept the Brixton pound, and over £5 million worth of Bristol pounds have circulated. But according to Witt, the currencies are also evolving away from their original models. The Brixton pound, sold more as a souvenir item, features David Bowie on the 10. And the Bristol pound has become something more ambitious, the UK's first community currency that can be used to pay local taxes. Switzerland and France have since allowed Bristol's lead, launching local currency sponsored by countries' host cities, such as Lehman Notes in Geneva and Sol Violte in Toulouse. These developments got the Schumacher Center wondering about the evolution of local currencies in its own country. In recent times, U.S. alternative currencies have been used by the private sector alone. Could American municipalities start sponsoring, accepting, and making payments with local currencies as their European counterparts do? In
Can I
COVID,
chirp in?
yeah,
So I want to chirp in that also in England there are local municipalities or councils that have sponsored time banks. And in particular, this is really where things like would really shift, right? Where volunteering, doing community projects, volunteering for like the city gets you a time bank currency that can be used to pay your taxes, right?
Right.
Where instead of having to work for capitalists, you're working for your local government, right, to pay your taxes at the very least, just for that. But you're doing it not for like the aggrandizement. I mean, there's avenues for corruption, I suppose, as long as there's governments with monopoly of violence, let's say. Because anarchism can come in there.
Right.
But imagine volunteering, doing snow shoveling. You get labor hours for that, and then that can be spent either for your taxes or local businesses, which occurs in this British town that I learned at the time banking conference. They basically, you do 2 hours of community service and you get a credit to see a 2-hour movie at the local theater.
Huh.
And basically like the theater accepts that as like a ticket.
Interesting.
Yes. I just want to mention that. Go on.
So, in COVID-19 pandemic's early days, city officials in New York and New Orleans reached out to the Schumacher Center with that very question. They were less interested in the Berkshire's program as we currently run it, and more interested in applying it to solving their own COVID problems, Witt recalls. And so, this past April, the center drafted a proposal. It outlined how municipal governments could use currencies like Berkshire's to pay local vendors, and vice versa. For example, says Rachel Moriarty, the Schumacher Center's director of operations, a town could borrow the local equivalent of Berkshire's to help finance a construction project and pay workers in the local currency. The workers could also use the currency to pay at least some of their local taxes. Not only are these policies perfectly legal as long as the currencies are exchangeable for US dollars, they also have plenty of behavioral precedent, says Robert Hawker, the law professor at Cornell University and one of the proposal's legal advisors. During the Great Depression, local governments issued and accepted scrip, essentially IOU notes to pay taxes, to support cash-strapped residents.
This is especially important as Wall Street has basically accumulated so much of the money that's, printed by the Treasury, right, that we have control over 2% of all the money. We need to have our own money then, because they're going to control all of it. We kind of need our own, so we're not controlled by them.
Right. So as a pandemic relief measure, Schumacher's proposal also allows local governments to issue emergency local currency payments to businesses and residents in need. The city of Mauritia, Brazil, has been doing something similar since 2014, when it launched Mumbuka, a basic income issued in a currency only redeemable at small local businesses. Eduardo Dinitz, professor of banking and technology at the Sao Paulo School of Business Administration, calls Mambuca one of the most unique basic income models in the world. If the government were to do this in Brazilian money, they can't avoid people spending it in other cities or losing some of that money to credit card companies, Dintz says. But by sending Mauritius most in-need residents monthly Mumbuka payments, he explains it lifts up the city's local businesses even as it strikes a blow at poverty. Oh my
so none of it's going to Walmart. Imagine that's the thing about like government subsidies, is that like whether it be food stamps or SNAP or other types of welfare, it all basically kind of gets sucked up by big corporations at the end of the day.
Until Walmart decides it takes all of them. Every Walmart takes every local currency from everywhere.
No. How could they do that, though? I mean, local currency is basically designed, it's like legalized into you have to spend it at accepting businesses. And I guess how. But the thing is, local businesses are tied to a local economy, not, and Walmart and big corporations are the opposite. The whole point is that they can spread out to everywhere in all markets, and that's neoliberal capitalism.
Oh no. Well, it seems like
Hmm.
Walmart would be very weary of actually doing that because these currencies, like some of, like you could just bring in a piece of paper and like have printed something out in your like house and say, yes, this is local currency from Vermont, take it. And if they would just take it, then fuck it, I'm printing money in my house, and that's how I'm going to be paying my groceries from Walmart from now on.
Well, I think local currencies. That's why I like putting them on cards and maybe having them be digital is a different thing. And please stop swearing.
So, oh,
Um,
I'm sorry.
you're still on radio here. The
I'm sorry.
shopkeepers. So just skip down to the last few. Well, let's see. Is the
Yeah, it's
last
almost
kind of
done.
important? Um, oh yeah. For wit, Berkshires are about something bigger than logistics. This is about honoring how amazing it is to know your local shopkeeper and local producer and all their complexity as citizens in a community. Perhaps nobody believes in that value more than the shopkeepers themselves. In their toughest year yet, on top of a decade that's seen Amazon and big box retail continually chip away at their prospects, Berkshire's business owners continue to tirelessly fight for that know your shopkeeper way of life. For Austin, that means giving her customers the full. Oh yeah, and that goes into the little mini stories, personal stories. But beyond what the currency can do, be it enlarging the customer base or improving the bottom line. The shopkeepers seem most motivated by what the currency can convey. A message best
Right.
summarized by the thinker who helped inspire it. Small is beautiful.
I like it.
All right, for that, I'm gonna skip doing the ending promo, I guess, but well, I guess I will. We are on Twitch, Homegrown Hangout, and Three Left Show.
Yeah, come check
Um,
us out. We're doing stuff.
we got Facebook, Three Left Show. That's where in social media. That's Twitter and on Mastodon. Same thing. Three Left Show. Go to Three Left News, ThreeLefts.news for all archive of episodes. We can be found on all podcasting apps. Spotify seemed to be a few episodes behind for some reason. I don't know why. I guess I need to make a call or something. Who the hell do I call? Um, we're not on Instagram. Don't ask. Um, I'm not interested in that really. It's look with all the socials. I'm not a big posting guy. It's all just aesthetics. But of course, getting the word out and outreach is how you do it. But otherwise, thank you for joining us and keep waving the flags of the three laughs.